Okay, next on our agenda, we're going to go to our superintendent's report. Superintendent. We'll get a mic that works here.
Yep, thank you. And a high chair. All right. Thank you for that. All right, so we will, I think we'll try and get the order correct today. My apologies last month to getting out of order. We'll start with the acknowledgement of student artwork with Kathy Jensen.
Thank you, Superintendent. I appreciate this opportunity. Nathan Smith is the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts Educator at Truman and Fox Hills Elementary Schools in the Granite School District. In his classes, each student created an individual square that represents them. The squares were then combined into a class and community quilt. One student drew the American flag and the Mexican flag, indicating her country and her heritage. Each is unique. The blocks were then combined into a community quilt symbolizing how each student, with their uniqueness, contributes to the whole and the strength of the community. On the back wall is a teacher project that I heard about while attending a Principal Professional Learning sponsored by USBE staff. The principal of Oker Elementary School in Jordan School District reported about an art project for the staff that was led by Angela Garside, the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts Educator. During back to school staff meetings, everyone filled out a paper about why they were choosing to be a teacher or to work in a school and not somewhere else. Staff members were asked to bring their why statements, preferably printed out on paper, with them to the meeting. They had studied the book Kids These Days and started by sharing quotes about their whys. Each teacher was then at the table were different colors of paint, 6 to 8 colors and a paintbrush for each color. Teachers chose a color, painted a small dot on their canvas with that color, and then stood behind their chair. They rotated and added something to the art that was next to them. That happened 5 or 6 times. At the end, the teachers went back to their original canvas and filled in all the white spots. They could use dots, lines, spirals, shapes, decorative paper, Mod Podge, anything that they could come up with. After the paint dried, teachers could freehand with a Sharpie or transfer paper to write their whys on the canvas. I want to show you an example. I want to make a difference, positively impact someone's life, and create a better future for generations to come. Some other examples. To help even just one child feel validated and capable of personal success. I want to be a male role model. I want my students to find their passion. I want my students to follow their dreams. It made me wonder about my why. Why do I do what I do? It's all of those things combined. And it culminates in one that is listed back there. This is where I find joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. We'll now move to, we'll move to new employee introductions. And we have just been so lucky to get so many great employees into our agency this summer and early fall. So Michelle Watts will lead us through that.
Got to go to the other mic.
Or this one here.
Yeah, because it's not logged. That one is logged in. Yeah, it's not logged into a person.
Okay, that's
Gotcha.
ready.
Does this one work?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I'm Michelle Watts, Human Resource Director for USBE, and we have about 25 new hires for the months of August and September. Adam Weinstein, he's an IT analyst, software engineer from Salt Lake City, and previously worked at the University of Utah as an instructor. Stephanie Richardson, educational specialist. She's from Marysville, Missouri, and previously worked as SPEDCO contractor, independent educational consultant. Danielle Macias, educational specialist from Santa Ana, California, previously worked at Alpine School District as an English teacher. Lorraine Peterson, office specialist 2, from London, England, and was previously a receptionist, administrative assistant for 16 years. Cody Wright, school finance specialist from South Jordan, Utah, previously worked for the United States Army as an infantryman. Riley Finnegan, research consultant from Oregon, previously worked at the Department of Geology at the U, as a graduate student researcher. Sage Bowman, educational specialist from West Jordan, Utah, previously worked at Granite School District as a secondary graphic communications and fine arts educator. Jennifer Prince, educational specialist from Orem, Utah, previously worked at Garfield County School District and was a district specialist. Katrina Stratford, educational specialist as a literacy coach from Salt Lake and previously worked at Salt Lake School District as a kindergarten teacher. Andrea Mortensen, educational specialist from Washington, previously worked at Generation Ready as an education consultant. Megan Everett, she has been hired as a U-Lead director and is from Alabama and previously worked at Salt Lake School District. Jessica Lamb, education specialist from Salt Lake City, Utah, and previously worked at Salt Lake School District as a special education consultant. Brooke Marsh, education specialist, literacy coach from Murray, Utah, previously worked at Granite School District as a special education teacher. Janet Scott, education specialist, literacy coach from Montana, previously worked at Hawthorne Academy as a kindergarten teacher. Carson Miller, support services coordinator from Salt Lake City, Utah, and previously worked at Laketown Mechanical as a sheet metal apprentice. Spencer Banks, UPAC attorney/investigator from Burley, Idaho, and previously worked at the Salt Lake County Attorney's Office as a deputy district attorney. Courtney Berlick, child nutrition specialist from Cleveland, Ohio, previously worked, she was self-employed, Natural Grocers, as a nutritional health coach. Britton Donaldson, educational specialist, literacy coach from Austin, Texas, previously worked at Granite School District. Sherry Smith, education specialist, literacy coach from Brigham City, Utah, previously worked at Box Elder School District as an instructional coach. Cassie Gaisford, education specialist, a literacy coach from Salt Lake, and previously worked at Granite School District as an interventionist. McKenna Maggot, education specialist, literacy coach from Missoula, Montana, previously worked at the University of Utah, pre-service teacher supervisor. Amy Bolton, Education Specialist Literacy Coach from Salt Lake. Previously worked at Jordan School District as a third grade general ed teacher. Harmony Langford, Education Specialist Literacy Coach from South Jordan, Utah. Heather Ripley is a Child Nutrition Program Specialist from Salt Lake. Previously worked at All Access Auto as an office manager. Christina Barrera, Education Specialist, Preschool Specialist from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Previously worked at the Salt Lake Jewish Community Center in the Early Childhood Center. Those are our new employees. We welcome them.
I have a point of order.
We've got a question here, but I don't know how else we welcome them except that round of applause. In the old days, they used to parade through here, and it was an awkward moment, so I appreciate this work. But yet, if you can send that applause their way, we're glad they joined the team. Vice Chair Belknap, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Michelle for putting this together and also having it in backup so we could read their quotes and get to know them a little better. I so appreciated the opportunity to do that. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. And we do ask them to watch, so they are watching and appreciate
There you
your
go.
applause.
Okay, Superintendent.
Thank you, Michelle. I too really appreciate those quotes. I picked up a lot of little things in there that we need to take advantage of. I saw some sheet metal work, some yoga instructors, being able to teach a cat to high five. So a lot of hidden talents among our new employees that we'll be taking advantage
And a
of.
fly fisherman.
And a fly fisherman, most important. Yeah, so thank you, Michelle, and thanks to our new employees for joining us. Those literacy coaches, you saw a lot of them, and they have been here much of the summer and been so busy. It's so fun to see both their enthusiasm, excitement, and a little bit of trepidation as they go out and do this important work on your behalf. So next we'll go to the Employee of the Month. I'm so excited to introduce and embarrass Miss Kate Wheeler. So Kate, if you wouldn't mind coming in and just sitting there and let everybody stare at you. Thanks, Kate. So Kate Wheeler, many of you may have seen Kate before. She is such a vital part of our child nutrition program. And I love what Michelle Martin, her supervisor, said about her, that she is the secret weapon in CMP. In 2018, Kate started a couple of things. One was the Apple Crunch program, and she hosts this up at the Capitol every year. And it's so much fun to be up there and see school kids there, and all these activities that she's put forward, and local farmers come in and bring their apples. Legislators come by and grab an apple and learn about the program. And this has just been hugely successful. Something that you've talked about here as a board is Farm to Fork. And Kate's work I just can't believe how quickly her work has grown, really connecting schools to farms and helping our students have access to healthy food and really helping kids know where their food comes from. I think, Kate, if I got this correct, that there were 78,000 participants last year, which is amazing. I mean, that to grow a program that quickly and to see how important that program is, and Kate's really getting recognition for that. It just seems like everything Kate touches, and she does so quietly. It's so much fun to embarrass her because she is a behind the scenes. She loves the outcome and the work, but not the glory of it. So it's doubly fun to honor her for all of her work. It's not just about Farm to Fork and Apple Crunch, but Kate is just such a vital part of our child nutrition program and does so with just such a mission-driven and purpose-driven modality to everything that she does. It's all about nutrition and good health for our kids. And we just so love and appreciate Kate and really happy to honor her. So remember, nobody park in her space. And she often rides a bike to work. In fact, most days rides a bike. And so we've let her know that she can use that parking place as leverage with her peers if she needs to negotiate or barter anything so that we can keep her bike safe. But Kate, congratulations and thank you so much.
Superintendent, can I take the liberty to recognize Angie's assistant that's
Oh,
She's
yes,
worked with.
please, go ahead.
Hey, is
Andrea?
Kathy,
Kathy Helgeson?
is she just right outside the door? We're going to embarrass her. We're going to bring her in. Kathy Helgeson, she's been Angie's assistant, but she's helped on a lot of task force and a lot of work in the background. She's retiring. Happy for her. She's going to be involved in a new chapter of life. I think all of her children, or most all of her children and grandchildren, all like live in the same neighborhood now. And so she'll be leaving us. And well,
There she is.
unless she's listening to this and took off and hid. Kathy, we just want to thank you for your service. Come on up. We know how awesome you are, and you're finishing strong, helping us with a lot of things. But thank you for your commitment to USBE, and we're excited about your new adventure. So thank you. Okay, Superintendent.
Thank you for doing that, Chair Huntsman. Fun fact, I was a principal in a school where Kathy's children attended, and you've met her son, Jonathan, who is deaf and hard of hearing, and she is, I love that she is so invested in the work of the board. You know, it's not just about coming and supporting you, but she really is interested in the issues, and she's been great to work with. She was a great PTA mom when I was a young principal, and we just love her and we'll really miss her. So thank you for doing that, sir. Appreciate that. All right, Kelsey, I think you're driving. Chair Huntsman took the opportunity to recognize Christina, and I want to recognize our employee. We have a couple of employees who've received statewide awards this month, and Christina received an award, as Chair Huntsman mentioned, for the Education Excellence Award at the Women Tech Awards. And this is a huge banquet that's really grown over time. It's a full day of training and camaraderie, and then they have these awards during the day. And there are about, 2,000 women maybe who are there for these awards. And I loved what Christina did during her acceptance speech. It's kind of like the Academy Awards. You don't know until you get there. You know that you're a finalist, but you don't know that you've won. And so people that were making their acceptance speeches, they were all very gracious and lovely and talking about their work. And Christina, as many educators would do, she was very humble about the award. She didn't say much, but when she got up there, she gave a shout out to everyone in the audience, and she said, "I'm giving you a challenge." I'm paraphrasing here, but she basically said, "I'm giving you a challenge to provide internships and opportunities for kids to come shadow you so that they can have hands-on experiences with computer science." And I love that. Always the teacher, like teaching the audience, here's something I want you all to do for our kiddos. It was great. And then the next award I'm going to highlight, I don't know if any of you saw this award, but this is a very prestigious award that our own Robert Austin received recently. As part of the Utah Valley University's Center for Study of Ethics, they also host an annual ethics awareness week. And this year, they chose Robert Austin, our humanities coordinator, to recognize him for his achievements by presenting him with the Excellence in Ethics Award. He gave this amazing acceptance speech that he sent to me, and I've had people contact me and just say, you should have heard his speech. It had people in tears and cheering and laughing. It was a very moving speech that I've read, and I hope that maybe we could have him give all or excerpts of it to you as a board. It's really powerful. And if you know Robert, his delivery is part of the joy of listening to his amazing words. But we're really proud of Robert. You know, he's been so focused on civics education and has done a lot with teaching kids ethics and supporting our teachers on how to bring ethics and civics into the classroom, regardless of what their content area is. So super proud of Robert and his efforts to promote civic education in Utah. So well done, Robert. And yes, you can clap. for both Christina and Robert. This month I want to highlight, since we're talking about awesome educators, I want to highlight one of our 4 pillars of the strategic plan, our effective educators and leaders. And I'll call out, first of all, our Teacher of the Year. Many of you were able to attend the banquet. It was so fun to have Chad Warnick from Delta, Utah, an ag teacher, recognized, and to have his father there, who was also a Teacher of the Year, I think 40 years prior. When I talked to his mother after the award, she said, "Thank you so much for choosing my boy." She said, I've just been praying and praying for him because he's such a good boy and so deserving. And I love that his parents were there to see him earn this award. But he is really going to represent our educators well this year, and just really excited about his leadership. You'll get to know him. He'll be serving on committees. You'll hear from him. So shout out to Chad. And we are, as we've started a new tradition a couple of years ago, the checks never quite seem to be ready to hand out at the banquet. And it's a good little secret, because then we get to go out and hand it to them in their classroom, excuse me, and we get to see them in action. So we'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks, to hand the actual dollars instead of the giant check that you can't cash. We'll be going to Chad's classroom along with the 2 other finalists. Excuse me. Next, I want to highlight a little bit of a survey leading into some conversation that you'll have later in your board meeting. You might know about the Educator Engagement Survey that was sent out. Cammie Dupre on our teaching and learning staff led this survey, and we had about 10,000 respondents, and that's pretty amazing when you realize that we have about 28,000 active educators out working in our schools. So the response rate of a third of our teachers to take the time to fill this out and turn it back in was quite amazing. I want to focus on leadership today especially, but this list are some of the things we popped out of that data that educators value in their school leaders. And these are things that we inherently know. All of you educators on the board, and those of you who may have not been in the formal role, but you certainly know these things about leadership. Having regular communication from school leaders is really important to their teachers. They like to know what's going on and what is expected of them. Being treated with kindness and being treated as professionals to help in decision-making and to recognize their role and how hard that is. They value from their leaders having understanding about their position and expectations. Getting, like, clarity comes up time and time again, role clarity in all sorts of surveys that we've seen nationally and locally. They appreciate having leaders who are visible to students and staff. They appreciate having feedback on their instruction. We know from, again, a lot of research that shows that having that immediate feedback is so important for them to make improvements in their instruction. And then really having this consistent and authoritative leadership, meaning that there is someone there to make the tough decisions, and that they can rely on those decisions and know what that means for them, instead of, again, being unclear and not understanding what is expected of the school, and to be able to have somebody who works with parents well, who works with the community well, and who supports them as teachers. So those were some things that popped out of the survey. There are a number of things that teachers said in other arenas that I'm going to skip over, but it's in your backup if you want to look at those lists. So Kelsey, if you'll go to slide 11, just for sake of time. October is National Principals Month. Now, I love October. It's my favorite month of the year. It might be because it's my birthday month, and my little brother was born a day after I was in October. So we've always had fun celebrations growing up. But I just love the Christmas in the air. I love the smells and the sights and the sounds. And I love that schools are kind of into a rhythm. There are just so many great things that happen in October. And I love that it's National Principals Month. So this is a hashtag that you'll see out on social media, and an encouragement to thank principals for what they do. And having been a principal, it was a great role. I loved being a principal, but also so incredibly challenging. And I think it's gotten even more so over time. I've had the opportunity to go out and visit schools, and I'm always met at the door by principal and student ambassadors. So I've been out to North and San Pete since our last board meeting, back kind of in your territory, Mr. Strait. Yeah, and it was a wonderful experience. Excuse me, goodness. October is also allergy season at my house, so that's one of the things I don't like about October. You've met Rena Orton up in the left corner. She was named as Elementary Principal of the Year. So she's been here in front of you. Next to her, these are written out of order, but next to her is Karen Soper at Manti High. She is a little mighty mite, and I'll talk about their schools in a bit. Next, where you see the superintendent, instructional coach, and Gannon Jones at Ephraim Elementary. Down in the left-hand corner is Jeff Erickson at North Sanpete Middle. And then last but not least, Alyn Maurer at Fairview Elementary. And these are the principals in the schools that I met with and had a wonderful time. The students there are full of joy. You know, I was so dismayed recently when I heard a public prayer that our schools are full of evil. Like, that just was a dagger to my heart, because I witness the opposite every day. Our schools are places of joy and care and goodness and learning. And I'll highlight a few of the things that I saw in my visits. On the left-hand side, you'll see this young man and woman. They are at Manti High, and their ag teacher, I think he has about 5 or 6 different preps, but he also teaches ag. And they've built a big greenhouse, and he had the kids help him build it. And then they raise poinsettias that they sell to the community as a fundraiser, and they use that in their peer. They have the students with disabilities and their peers who are part of the peer. I'm blanking on the name. I was going to say peer counseling, but that peer tutoring program. They work together to raise these poinsettias that they then sell as a fundraiser. And I asked the girl on the left how she got interested in ag. She said, I don't know. I don't even live on a farm, and I'm from Manti. But she said, I just think it's so interesting, and I love studying about botany and animal science. And so she said, I've just taken all of the classes possible that are in this pathway. And she said, I might be interested in being a veterinarian. I don't know, but I'm so grateful that we have these classes and now that we have this greenhouse. Of course, always being met by students I love, and every student can tell you what they love about the school and what they're interested in. But the common theme I hear is that being in a school like Manti High, they feel like the adults in the school really care about them and know them as individuals. They come to their games and their events and their dances, and it's a whole community feel. I happened to be there on homecoming day, which was extra fun. The picture on the right was an integrated arts and science lesson at Ephraim. I think that was at Ephraim Elementary. And they had parents who'd been working. They had a art specialist who wasn't there that day, but parents had been working with her. So a couple of parent volunteers now go in and make sure that kids have even more art, and they use the standards and integrate that as they've seen happen through BTSA, which I loved. And this was really interesting, where they put leaves on a certain kind of photo paper. They take it out in the light, and then you see this exposure, and then they dip it in a certain solution, and out comes these prints that they were then framing. We got to see the whole process. It was fun. Down in the center, this was really interesting to me at Mount Pleasant Elementary in North Sanpete. They have students who come from all over the valley to participate in orchestra. And it's an after-school program, and they have about 80 students participating, which is amazing from a little rural community. And at first they had an orchestra program where the teacher was traveling around, and they were just getting a few kids here and there, and it wasn't feeling cohesive. So they worked together to have them all come together. We got to hear a group from Mount Pleasant play, and they were really good. I mean, you know, I was very transparent in saying I kind of came prepared for those early new months of playing in orchestra and ready to kind of cover my ears a little bit. And it was just beautiful and melodious, and it was a fun experience. And then last but not least, I got to see letters in action of a teacher who's been through the training. As I mentioned, at Ephraim Elementary, their great principal has been through the training. They have a literacy coach, and they are really making gate gains. This teacher told me that she has already seen at least a month or two acceleration in many of her students from years previous because of what she now knows from the science of reading training that she's received. So just fun to see all the great things happening in North and South St. Pete. I love going into rural Utah, and you get into this school, and there are kids like kids everywhere, whether they're urban or suburban, but they are really cared for by willing and wonderful adults. Miss Soper, I also wanted to shout out to Manti High. She started a leadership class that is a required class for every student in the high school, and it's based on Leader in Me of Covey's 7 Habits with Youth. And you can really see the difference, and according to her and the other adults in the building, you can see the difference that it's making in the way students are treating each other, the way they see themselves as leaders, the confidence that it's building. So great things happening. And it was a wonderful time. And I just want to thank the board for your support in allowing me and supporting me spending time out in the schools. It makes such a difference. And I know you all feel the same way. When you're in schools and you're thinking about a policy, a decision that you're going to make, then you can think about how it impacts the students and the teachers in your area. And I certainly think that now every time there's a policy, a law, anything that happens, or funding, I'm able to advocate. I can think of the examples of Ephraim Elementary, Mount Pleasant, Manti High, and those will be part of the collection of visuals that I have as we move forward this year. So thank you for allowing me and supporting me in doing that. And that's my report.
Thank you, Superintendent. And if you ever get a chance to go and participate as a board member on some of those visits, they are a lot of fun. And they're excited to see our superintendent in the school. So thank you for your willingness to do that and commitment with the whirlwind of things that you've got to do.